Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the State College of Florida student body, I'm grateful you could be here today. My name is Ashley Eichelman, and I'm honored to serve as your Mistress of Ceremonies for this afternoon's luncheon. Before we get started, I have a few housekeeping notes. If everyone could please turn off their cell phones or silence them. If you're looking for the restroom, it's right back there. I am a proud recipient of the Keith E. Tucker Scholarship. This is my second year at SCF, and I'm preparing for a future in pediatric nursing. Allison Nash, the scholarship coordinator for State College of Florida, tells me I am a GAP student. Among the working poor, someone who works and earns too much money to receive financial aid. But trust me, I am someone who struggles paying for tuition, fees, and books. I come from a large middle-class family. I've had a job since I was 16. Currently, I work 30 hours during the week at Kitty Academy in Lakewood Ranch. On the weekends, I work at a furniture store, and I babysit as frequently as possible. Now, don't worry, Miss Mary Anderson. I finished last semester with a 4.0 GPA. Thank you so much for your support over the past 2 years. It is because of you that I am SCF. It is now my pleasure to introduce Ms. Christina Fowler, the chairman of the board and the president of the State College of Florida Foundation.
Good afternoon, everyone. And I understand the parking was a little bit difficult, so I apologize. Welcome to the Foundation's 2014 Scholarship Luncheon. We're pleased that you're here at our premier event meant to honor you, our benefactors. Our theme this scholarship year has been Change One Life, Change the World. Changing the world is a big order. We sometimes think it takes the masses to make those kind of changes, but I would like to share with you how one man, much like you, changed many lives. It was 1938, and Nicholas Winton, a successful stockbroker, was headed on his annual holiday to snow ski with some friends when he received a call from a friend. The friend implored, "Come to Prague with me and help me," said Martin Blake. "The German army is moving there, and we must help the children be transported quickly." "But what can I do as one man?" Wilton pleaded. After much consideration, he joined his friend in Prague, and Operation Kinder Transport began. An extensive fundraising effort was organized, and the British public responded generously, raising £500,000 British pounds. Between December 1938 and May 1940, almost 10,000 children were rescued and given shelter at farms, hotels, camps, and private homes. But none of these children were from Prague. Nicholas Winton decided to set up his own rescue operation. As one man, Winton worked at his regular job on the stock exchange by day and then devoted late afternoons and evenings to his rescue effort. By himself, he made a great effort to raise money and find foster homes to bring as many Prague children to safety. He returned to London and persuaded Great Britain to receive any child under the age of 18. And on March 14th, 1939, Winton had his first success. The first transport of children left Prague for Great Britain by airplane. Winton organized 7 more transports that departed from Prague's railway station. British foster parents waited to collect the children, and Winton was active in matching the right child to the right foster parents. On September 1st, 1939, the biggest transport of children was to take place, but the train never made it. It disappeared as Germany had invaded Poland, and none of the 250 children aboard were ever seen again. The loss was devastating to Winton, and he returned home never speaking of Kindertransport or the 669 children that he'd saved. 50 years later, his wife, Greta, found a scrapbook in their attic with all of the children's photos and a complete list of the names of the children that were saved. Greta shared the story with the BBC, so let's watch together that Nicholas Winton interview.
All the letters. But back here is the list of all the children. This is Vera Diamant, now Vera Gissing. We did find her name on his list. Vera Gissing is with us here tonight. Hello, Vera. And I should tell you that you are actually sitting next to Nicholas Winton. Hello.
And it was just so wonderful, so terribly, terribly touching.
Can I ask, is there anyone in our audience tonight who owes their life to Nicholas Winton? If so, could you stand up, please?
So now I ask you, is there anyone in our audience today whose life has been impacted and changed by the generosity of another? Please stand. Thank you. Together, we are changing the world. To our scholarship benefactors today, thank you for making such a positive difference in the lives of our children. In addition to our benefactors and scholarship recipients, our foundation wouldn't be what it is today without the dedication and leadership of our valued volunteers. Joining us today are the board members of the Foundation Board of Directors. It is my pleasure to recognize these distinguished volunteers with whom I've had the pleasure to serve. Foundation Board of Directors, please stand and be recognized. I would also like to give a special recognition to our State College of Florida Board of Trustees in attendance today. Please stand and be recognized. We're also very pleased to have joining us today as our current SCF President, Dr. Carol Probsfeld, and former President, Dr. Sarah H. Pappas. Dr. Pappas is the current President and CEO of the William G. and Marie Selby Foundation. Please stand and be recognized. Now I'd like to ask the college leadership and staff and faculty to stand. Thank you for everything that you do for us. We also want to give special recognition and thanks to our good corporate friends and today's luncheon sponsors. We have 2 president-level sponsors. Please stand when I call your name. Suncrest Credit Union, represented today by Cindy Helton, Donia Dorman, Kristen Pepper, Cindy Snyder, and Chris Townsend. Synovus Bank, represented today by Terry Wells, Denise Dawson, Lisa Van Ulen, David Weimer, Claudia Leguzaman, and Randy Womer. And our honor sponsor today is First Manatee Bank, represented today by Randy Allen, Ross Hodges, Charles Conley, and Stephanie McKeever. Thank you once again for sponsoring today's luncheon. You're a perfect example of what good neighbors and corporate sponsors are all about. We wouldn't have this luncheon without you. We encourage everyone to frequent these businesses that support us. If you're not familiar with them, please speak to one of the representatives today.
It is now my pleasure to introduce Professor Melody Dickerson, Chair of the Music Department, who has a special treat for us.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you so much. It is our pleasure to be here today and once again to provide some musical entertainment here for the SCF Foundation Luncheon. We're so grateful for that. We're just fresh off of our first performance last night, our Fall Festival of Music, and so it is a real treat to come back today and present some more music. The first number that you're going to hear is from the musical West Side Story, which we are presenting 2 weeks from Friday, October 24th through the 26th. It is going to be a phenomenal show, and I think you will greatly enjoy it. I hope you come, bring your friends. We've left some brochures for you. Tell everyone. I think after you hear these students, you will know why I'm inviting you to come. Accompanying these students here today is Ms. Lorraine Myers, our staff accompanist, been on staff for us for over 20 years. The 5 students who are here, I will introduce them, and the character they will play are going to sing the Tonight Quintet. This is the famous quintet at the end of Act 1 where everybody decides what's going to happen to them and what's going to be very important. Standing right here is Brandon Guzman, a freshman. He is playing the part of Bernardo. Next to him is his sister in the show, Maria. Katie Priest is playing Maria. Next to her is Tony, the boy she falls in love with, and that is our student James Hyde. Next to him, the young lady playing Anita is Jade Turner, and at the end, the gentleman playing Riff is Chris McCoy. Each of these students are involved in our music program and have quite a bit of stage experience. So I hope you will enjoy the Tonight Quintet.
The Jets are gonna have their day tonight.
The Sharks are gonna have their way tonight.
The Puerto Ricans grumble, fair fight. But if they start a rumble, we'll rumble them right.
We're gonna hand them a surprise tonight.
We're gonna cut them down to size tonight.
We said okay, no rumpus, no tricks, but just in case they jump us, we're ready to mix tonight.
We're gonna rock it tonight. We're gonna jazz it up and have us a ball. They're gonna get it tonight. The more they turn it on, the harder they fall. Well, they began it.
Well, they began it,
And we're the ones to stop them once and for all tonight.
Anita's gonna get her kicks tonight. We'll have a private little mix tonight. Walking hot and tired, so what? Don't matter if he's tired, as long as he's hot.
Tonight, tonight, it all began tonight. Tonight there will be no morning star. Tonight, tonight, I'll see my love tonight, and for us stars will stop where they are. Today the minutes seem like hours, the hours go so slowly, and still the sky is light. O moon, grow bright, and make this endless day, endless night.
I'm counting on you to be there tonight. When Diesel wins it fair and square tonight. That Puerto Rican punk'll go town, and when he's hollering uncle, we'll tear up the town. So I can count on you, boy.
Alright,
We're gonna have us a ball.
alright.
Boom the tune. I'll see you there about 8.
Alright, we're gonna rock it tonight.
We're gonna jazz it tonight.
We're gonna get it tonight.
Are gonna have a day. We're gonna rock it tonight, tonight.
Thank you. I think you are in for a real treat. I hope you know how amazing this is that all of these students are between 18 and 20 years old. They're just the first 2 years of college. It's amazing. We're so thrilled to have such a great musical theater program. Now, we probably need to maybe, I don't know if we want to move the mics, Mr. Menino, maybe just move those to the side. Mr. Mark Menino, who is better than a mic mover. He is the director of our jazz studies, and he has brought along today some really terrific jazz musicians who are going to play 2 tunes for you. They are members of the jazz band at State College of Florida. We have an extremely busy and functioning jazz program, and there you go. See these good-looking guys? We don't bring anybody but good-looking people here to this. And wow, Liston, wow. That's a nice piano. Hey, all right. So, Mr. Menino, maybe just tell the name of the tunes your band's going to sing.
Okay. What are the name of the tunes? Okay, but you're playing something else first, right? Ornithology. Okay. The first tune is Ornithology by Charlie Parker. This is from the bebop era. And after World War II, jazz took a kind of drastic change. It became faster, more energetic, and even more intellectual, you might say. So this particular tune that these guys chose, and they chose it on their own, is very difficult to play, both technically and intellectually. So here they go.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your listening to these musicians and singers so much, and we hope you'll come out and come to more of our concerts and events at State College of Florida. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And doesn't music have the power to brighten your day? Don't you feel like a little more energetic now? Yeah, and happier, just uplifting. We do a lot of things in our program. I just wanted to mention briefly that on November the 5th, which is a Wednesday afternoon from 1 to 3, we are bringing a very famous jazz clinician to State College of Florida. His name is John Fedchock. John Fedchock is leader of the New York Big Band, one of the most prestigious big bands in the world currently touring. So that event will be open to the public, and we'll have schools from around the 2 counties visiting and participating with us. So we're just very excited about that. We're very excited about our program. Thanks for listening. Have a great lunch. Thank you.
Now I would like to introduce fellow student Chris Stow. Chris is an honorably discharged veteran who served in the Marine Corps for over 6 years, where he earned numerous meritorious awards and promotions. Chris is pursuing his bachelor's degree at SCF in Homeland Security. He has an impactful story to tell us.
Thank you. SCF President Carol Probsfield, SCF Foundation Chairman Christine Fowler, SCF Administrators, staff, faculty, distinguished guests, and of course, all of you have been so generous in your support of this fine institution. Welcome to you all. It is a privilege to be here, and I'm humbled to have this opportunity to be among those who found the eminence of this institution. Through your leadership, your friendship, your sponsorship, your commitment to community, thank you for all of that. As you may know, I'm the proud recipient of the Helena Ruth Hall Scholarship, and for that, I am truly grateful. When I was approached to offer some words here today while working out of state, my first thought was absolutely. Everybody should be made aware of the value of work being done by the great team here at the State College of Florida and what it means to those of us they support in so many ways. So immediately I started making arrangements to secure a little extra time in the day to put pen to paper. Instead of waking up at 5:30 a.m. to start my day, I would wake up at 5 a.m. where I could catch up on some laundry and watch a YouTube video to make a hair bow for my daughter's school pictures that day. After doing our hair, I could fill the plant pots with various fertilizer in preparation for her science project, and then make breakfast, fill her water bottle, and prepare a snack. Although I think she would have preferred that I gave her breakfast before dabbling with the fertilizer. We could practice multiplication during our ride to school, which would free me up after dinner, and I could make time to help my elderly father set up auto payments online so that he could pay his bills without having to venture out in person. During the day between assisting veterans in various days at SCF, I could work ahead on my school assignments so that I could help my daughter with her homework prior to taking her to swim team, which she attends 4 nights a week. I would tend to daily chores and be sure Gabby has clothes laid out for school, share some ice cream and conversation before tucking her into bed, giving her a kiss goodnight, and begin working on something to say to all of you. Something that involves an unprecedented thank you, as I see the scholarship as a means of help, a lending hand from you to me, a reaffirmation of the human spirit. And there are times when I need that more than you can ever imagine. Despite the schedule and feeling somehow that I fail miserably every day, it's worth every second. That's what parents do. I'm sure the question arises to many of you, how did you get here? And it's funny, I ask myself the same questions quite often. So let me paraphrase my long journey and give you some insight. I grew up in a small town in Ohio just west of the West Virginia border. We lived in an old farmhouse with holes in the walls and broken windows. We heated with wood, carried water from a cistern, and hunted and grew most of our food. My mother had a 6th grade education, and my father graduated after 9th grade, which was common in the small rural farm town in which he grew up in. He was a 30-year factory worker, and he retired making less than what most make today at McDonald's. My mother was emphatic about her education, and she was relentless in assuring our graduation, no matter how difficult at times it was for her. I wasn't a good student, although I did enjoy science and math and computer-related classes, as all I wanted to do was really get out, get a job, and get away. At 17, I graduated and moved to West Virginia with $10 and pennies in my pocket. I stayed where I could until I got a job eating from gardens in a small pre-pay candy box at my first job where I paid in IOUs until I received my first paycheck. Shortly after, I got married and enlisted into the United States Marine Corps. And during boot camp, I received notice of my wife's pregnancy and divorce papers. We were very young. I stayed in the Marine Corps for a total of 6 years, in which time I was awarded multiple meritorious promotions, a wall full of awards for notorious service, and served in the first of now many Gulf Wars. I left the Marine Corps active duty with an excellent service record, an honorable discharge, and I moved to Colorado after acquiring a position at a top tech firm. I bought a home, cars, and all of the toys. And after some downsizing, I held several positions with other top companies before I remarried and started my own technology firm. I had a beautiful wife, a wonderful stepdaughter, and shortly after, a brand new son who was born terminally ill. We raised him and cared for him together for the first 2 years, and then I did so by myself for the remaining almost 2 years of his life. He died in my arms 3 days before his 4th birthday. At that point, after spending months in a hospital with my son, I came back to a broken business and a life that was torn apart. I lost everything. I sold what little remained and moved to Wyoming for a year building houses in the mountains with a Marine Corps brother. And during this time, I wasn't myself. I grieved hard, often turning to the corner stool in a lonely Cheyenne tavern. The bright side of this period was the birth of my daughter, Gabriella Monet, which is my life's most greatest treasure. I believe she saved my life. Gabby is a happy, talented, and brilliant young lady, and many of you in this room know her, as she cannot be ignored. I have, since the tragedy with my son, learned to live with the grief and enjoyed success. Until just 2 years ago, we lived in Estes Park, Colorado, in a beautiful mountain home where I entrenched myself in my latest venture, a partnership in a green energy firm in which I invested my life savings. We were successful and all was well until the private equity firm took our investments and disappeared into Asia. The firm dissolved in 2010, and again, our lives changed. Eventually, my mother, with whom I've been close to, talked us into moving to Florida. She and my daughter had a very close bond, and with a disheartened spirit and a need for change, I agreed. 3 days before I arrived, my mother passed. But I recall the last conversation she and I had as vividly as if it were yesterday. She took my hand, and with tears in her eyes, she asked me if I would please finish college. She told me it was always a dream of hers and that she needed me to promise this to her so that she knew that Gabby and I would be okay. It was as if she had some divine insight. I told her I would, but I had no idea how I would do it. And this is where I get to talk about the wonders of those that make up the State College of Florida. I can tell you that the staff and faculty of this college will forever be a part of me. I have made lifelong friends and shared unforgettable experiences. Being uncertain about the nuances of college finance, Elaine Spacco and the Venice campus gave me peace of mind, not a piece of mind, with her kindness, her diligence, and her knowledge, and she was a true blessing. One of the many misconceptions regarding veterans and college benefits is that there is an endless supply of funds provided to furthering one's education. I can tell you that that is a myth. Many of the veterans we assist are challenged by various program limitations, such as benefit caps, delays, payments and book stipends, tuition, and program criteria. I exhausted my benefits the first 2 years directly after my active service. And there was a timeline in which I needed to utilize the benefits before they expired. Additionally, while I was eligible for another program, which I received benefits for monthly, when advancing to my bachelor's program, I no longer qualified and the benefits stopped. This is why the Helena Ruth Hall Scholarship has been so beneficial to me. I really would like to mention a few people who are the reason that SCF is so unique and so special. Bill Graydon, our veteran advisor, is an inspiration to myself and so many veterans, opening new doors for veterans making transitions. He has pioneered new ideas and support mechanisms through veterans clubs, which he, not too long ago as a student, helped found. He helped find support for the Veterans Bridge Loan Program that helps with temporary financial need, our food bank program, and our Veterans Scholarship Endowment Initiative. And by the way, we are just $5,000 shy of full endowment with this amazing SCF initiative. I recall the first time I met Dr. Donald Bowman. I was working through some changes on my schedule, and he shook my hand and said, while looking at the person assisting me, "Help this gentleman with whatever he needs." And it was done. He has truly earned my respect and gratitude. And there are so many more. I know these people. They have a unique and critical role in shaping our next generation of professionals. And where else but SCF is the level of synergy and familiarity among students and staff so possible? It is what makes us unique. My point is simply this: the State College of Florida and all who support it should know that it is more than a small college in Southwest Florida. For many like myself, it is a new beginning, a beacon of hope, a gateway to opportunity, and a foundation for a better life and a new confidence. Its fabric is woven with a very special breed of people who find joy in getting to know the essence of each student and help shape them using the tools of solidarity and enthusiasm. It is these people that bring merit and passion that wells up into those lives they touch and breaches the doorway to a new and bright future. I am proud to be here. And as my daughter watches me so closely and learns the importance of education, she too, in a sense, is a product of SCF at only 10. My experience, not unlike the many students before me and the many to come, are an enduring tender that will carry forward. Each an amber igniting new vision that will carry forward and forms the foundation of another generation of edict that will have evolved new standards for the passion of learning, the power of perseverance, and the importance of community, and the freedom embedded in the kindness that vivifies what it is to be human and what it is to be SCF. I am SCF. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chris. You were very inspiring. I would like to also take a special time to thank you for your service to our country. Now, I would like to introduce you to Dr. Carol Probesfield, the president of the State College of Florida. Dr. Probesfield will lead us in our annual pinning of the scholars.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chris, for your inspiring words and your incredible story and for sharing that with us. Thank you for your service. I am humbled and honored to be in service to all the students at the State College of Florida. Welcome. This annual scholarship luncheon is a wonderful tradition at SCF. It is a great opportunity for our generous benefactors to meet their student recipients, some for the first time, and others catching up from the past year. And to our scholarship benefactors, your generosity makes this day happen. On behalf of the college community, you have our deepest gratitude for all you are doing to bring a college degree within reach for our students. And now, to our distinguished 2014-2015 Foundation Scholarship recipients, please rise and be recognized for your academic accomplishments. You have earned the distinction of being named a Foundation Scholar. In accepting your scholarship, you accepted a trust in kind from your benefactor, a trust that you will be diligent in the pursuit of your education and in the fulfillment of the terms of your scholarship. As a Foundation Scholar, you inherit the responsibility of persevering and advancing our community. You will be expected to assume the leadership role for which your education has prepared you. And perhaps someday you will return to this luncheon to take on a different role, that of benefactor. Ultimately, you will succeed to become the steward of the next generation of SCF. We acknowledge your success and commend your ambition, your commitment, and your continued desire to dream. We are proud of your accomplishments and wish you continued success in all your endeavors. Congratulations to each and every one of you. I now ask each benefactor or table host to present the scholars' pins to each recipient at your table. I know, many of you have already done it. For those who haven't, they're in the crystal bowl on your table. To our scholarship recipients, please know that this pin is recognized as a symbol of the honor you have achieved. Wear it with pride. Warmest congratulations to you. I wish you well in the years ahead, and I remind you to follow in the footsteps of the fine men and women who have left this, their alma mater, to achieve greater success. You have a rich heritage at the State College of Florida. May you continue to receive ever great rewards and recognition. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Probsfield. It's an honor to be an SCF Foundation Scholar, and I will wear my pin with pride. On behalf of the entire SCF student body, I would like to say thank you to the foundation staff and the foundation benefactors. Together, you are doing so much to remove the obstacles of the students attending State College of Florida. I am now delighted to introduce Cassandra Holmes. Cassandra is the new Executive Director of the SCF Foundation. I welcome you as a new member to this fine group of philanthropic people, changing one life at a time.
Good afternoon. It is our pleasure to recognize the Foundation's many generous scholarship benefactors who are here with us today. This growing list reflects the wonderful participation and responsiveness of our community. Please stand as I read your names, along with the names of your scholarship fund. You may be seated as I call the next. Please hold your applause until we all have been introduced and I signal to you. Maria Gaffar, the Asian Women's Club of Lakewood Ranch. Patricia and Burton Corbus, the Bertha K. Gibbons Lucia Freeman Memorial Scholarship Fund. Mary Schmidt, the Bradenton Rotary Club Scholarship, Leah Brown, the Bright House Network Scholarship, Rusty and Casey Russell, Ray Collins and William Waltress, Broadcasters Club, Pat Neal, Building Construction Technology Scholarship, John Booth, Kelly Caldwell, a foundation board member, Chris Gray, Mac Reed, H. Lee Thacker, Kathleen Toll, Cheryl Vieira, and Jim Woods, Caldwell Trust Company Scholarship. Howard Hallpen, Catherine E. Hallpen, RN Scholarship. Nancy Brazelton, the Emil H. Beck and Rose Ann Beck Nursing Scholarship. Hope Stevenson, the Beverly Bell and R. Kemp Riekman Scholarship and the Esther E. Kempe Scholarship. George and Betty Garver, Patricia Johnson, and Judy Kraft, the R.M. Bell Scholarship, the Sheriff Charlie Wells Scholarship. Tim Hayden, new to us this year, 2013 Outstanding State College of Florida graduate who used his scholarship and his own personal funds to create the Fire Chief Mark Soders Memorial Scholarship. Jim and Sandy Hammer, representing Francis E. and Gail A. McCracken Scholarship. Dr. Richard and Miss Jean Georgiadis, the Georgiadis Family Scholarship. Nelda Thompson, James and Nelda Thompson Scholarship. Jim and Michelle Captain, John Captain Geo Restaurants Culinary Scholarship. Joseph Vona, Joseph P. Vona Scholarship. Robert and David Moats, Karen Quinn Moats Scholarship. Our Mistress of Ceremonies, Ashley, received Mary Anderson's Keith E. Tucker Scholarship. Please stand, Mary. Thank you. John C. Tibbetts, Keith A. and Ruth Thompson Nursing Scholarship. Faculty member, Dr. Beth Kirsten, the Kirsten Health Science Scholarship Fund. Louise Kennedy Converse, Louise Kennedy Graphic Design Scholarship. Vernon Desir, Mark Goodson, Beverly Deach, Pat Ellis, Nancy Stoll, Jerry Stern, and Joanne Webster, the Manatee Memorial Hospital Auxiliary Scholarship. Mark and Alec Moran, Mark and Alec SCF Scholarship. Jane Walton and Claire Heasley, the Michael Walton Rabbit Scholarship. Claire Power, the Military Officers of Sarasota County. The Palm Air Women's Club Scholarship, Dr. Carol Darling and Helen Martin. Mary Blanton, the Patrick Allen Bradley Scholarship. Lillian Elliott, a foundation board member, and Tracy Zellwalk, Tropicana Sponsorship and Pepsi Scholarship. Retired Prine Elementary Principal William O'Brien, the Bill O'Brien Principal Scholarship. Annie Scheifler, the Scheidel Foundation Scholarship. Mary Ann Byrne and Barbara Mitchell, the Sigma Kappa Kappa Itoa Teaching Scholarship. Dr. Alan Simkis and Susie Simkis Walters, the Simkis Family Scholarship. Karen Washington and Faye B. Jones, the Stan Boss Washington Education Scholarship. Brian Lee, SunTrust Scholarship. Debbie and Steve Tapp, the Tapp Family Scholarship. New to us this year, Dr. Eric and Terry Folkens, the Bradenton Sarasota Urgent Care Scholarship. Judy and Tom Evanson, the Tommy Evison Nursing Scholarship. Flo Inez, Walter and Catherine Seeger Scholarship. Susan Boyd, Wilbur Burr Boyd Scholarship. Beverly Saffron, William P. Saffron Jr. Scholarship. John and Fran Lasivita, the Willis Smith Construction Scholarship. Our presidential sponsor also has a scholarship, Suncoast Credit Union, represented today by Cindy Helton, Chris Townsend, Denise Dorman, Kristen Pepper, Cindy Snyder, Suncoast Credit Union Kids Foundation Scholarship. Please join me in a round of applause to let these generous benefactors know how much we appreciate their investment in State College of Florida. Thank you. I would be remiss if I did not say we are missing someone very special to the foundation today. And our hearts were deeply saddened with the news of the passing of board member Tana Sandifer. Tana and her late husband, John, were pillars of not only the Sarasota community, but of State College of Florida and the foundation family as well. She served on our board of directors at the foundation for 8 years and was instrumental in founding our Summer Bridge program, where approximately 40 or more students, at-risk high school students, each year came straight to SCF 3 weeks after high school graduation to take life skills courses and extra help transitioning from high school to a college environment. She purchased iPads for the Summer Bridge program. The words spoken at her memorial service by her son-in-law, Philip Taylor, sums up for me, and I hope for you that loved her so, the influence that she had on our community. It is an old American Indian belief that those die on earth twice, once upon their last breath, and once the last time their name is spoken on earth. Tana will be living long after all of us. Thank you, Tana. We all miss seeing you in the audience today. I have one more benefactor recognition to make. You kind of saved the best for last, we like to say. In my new position as executive director for the foundation this year, I witnessed philanthropy in the truest sense. Dr. Sarah H. Pappas asked us to her office to discuss the areas that the SCF Foundation was lacking in funding. Who were those students that we were unable to help? Veteran students and GAP students quickly rose to the top. We analyzed it together, looking over some empirical data, and you can very much see with Chris Stow gave you a window into the obstacles that veterans face on their return to school, and Ashley explained as a GAP student how working 3 jobs, receiving no financial aid, but still can't afford to pay for her education. Dr. Sarah Pappas and the Selby board listened to our needs, and they responded. The William G. and Marie Selby Foundation increased their scholarship funding for these areas by $53,000. The total impact of their gifts for this year is $123,000. As you can see, of all the students right here in this room. Students if you are a William G. and Marie Selby Foundation Scholar recipient, will you please stand? Please be seated. Dr. Sarah H. Pappas, Carolyn Johnson, Karen Grablin, Marty Hurtwitz, Kevin Steinick, Jane Gottlieb, and Evan Jones. Will you please stand? The Board of Directors of the Selby Foundation, along with Dr. Pappas, listened to our need. They responded, and they provided funding to meet those needs. We truly thank you. My recognition would not be complete without a thank you to several other people who give their time to make all this happen. Please stand if you are on the Scholarship Application Review Committee who read over 1,900 applications and were invaluable in helping select these deserving State College of Florida students. Thank you so much. Please stand if you are a foundation volunteer. Deb Pate, Victor Michel, Mary K. Casada. Thank you. That one Annie Miller of the Phi Theta Kappa Club, and Marilyn Rouse from the college's IT department. Thank you for your assistance today. Being the new executive director, I have had the pleasure to work with a wonderful foundation team. I like to refer to them as the dream team. And that would be Darlene Wedler Johnson, Brenda Boynton, Brandon Mand, Carrie McBride, Mary Lou Bale, Allison Nash, and Ron McDonough. If you want to know anything about State College of Florida Foundation, please ask these staff members. Our State College of Florida Foundation mission is we inspire and connect donors' passion and our regional partners with State College of Florida's outstanding students, faculty, programs, and community, and to professionally manage and steward assets entrusted to the foundation. Through your support and dedication to higher public education, you help ensure that dreams do come true and for those that aspire to achieve academic success. We change lives one at a time. To each of our benefactors, come enjoy SCF sports and our fine arts on us. You will see at your table there are 2 certificates for a free Sundays at Neal tickets and our great Manatee Sports at State College of Florida. We hope that you will take that. It also has some information regarding our new Avenues de Artistes that will be February the 21st, 2015. Please leave the holder so we can display a surprise for next year. Also, I would like to say that to help us to alleviate our parking situation, a bus will be present out in the front to take you to the far back lot so you do not have to walk, okay? And also, please take the lovely flowers at your table or your neighbor's table. And I also have a special request of the SCF Foundation Board to come to the stage at the end of this event so that you may have a together picture together. A heartfelt thank you to all of you here. Because of you, we are SCF. Thank you. See you next year.
I served initially. I started out as an MP, and then migrated into some counter-terrorism work, and then ended up at Camp Lejeune doing a number of things, including working with the JAG office, and of course spending some time out on the beach with some of the other folks out there.
What's the best part of being a Marine?
I think the camaraderie really is. It's an everlasting brotherhood, and those who are in other branches of service or haven't experienced that can't ever understand it, although I don't want to undermine those branches as well. They're fantastic, but there is just a unity that is undefined outside of the Marine Corps.
Well, and one of the things that, the Marines, and you mentioned, it's a brotherhood for life, whether you're on D-Day or Korea or Vietnam, or you're once Marine, always Marine.
That's exactly right, and I'd like to think that I always have a place to sleep.
Yeah, you've been very active in a lot of things that concern veterans. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the obstacles that are facing veterans, that are returning veterans, especially from Afghanistan and Iraq?
You bet, and this is going to be an ongoing thing, but really the veterans today face a number of things. The most important thing that they face is with regard to challenges is reintegration into community. Obviously, when they come out, they have benefits. They want to use those to further their education. They want to use those to advance their lives, to transition, and that works fantastic. But the other thing we need to do is create an awareness within the community so that people can reintegrate and feel comfortable in that integration process. Just recently, the University of Syracuse, along with the Bush Library Foundation, they conducted a study on veterans returning from service abroad. And an inordinate amount of vets feel that the public doesn't understand them, and I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 80%. And the inordinate amount of citizens say that they don't understand the vets. So there are outreach programs that are being developed in lieu of those types of studies that will help these folks reintegrate into the civilian life and be active members and successful members of their community.
Well, we're here today, we celebrate the State College of Florida Foundation and their scholarship awards. I mean, obviously you've used the GI Bill, but tell us a little bit about why scholarships are important, not only to you, but to other returning veterans.
Absolutely. The benefits coming from the services today are fantastic. However, they do have some shortcomings. Some of the program criteria, there are some delays in benefits after separation, after the end of current contract for the individual. And likewise, there are the benefits are only available while you're attending school actively. So if there's ever a break, even if it's a administrative break or a holiday break, those benefits stop for that period of time in some cases. So having said that, these subsidies offered by scholarships offer a great means, especially for those people who have families, to maintain some consistency in their lives and to focus on their education and their responsibilities in academics.
So the scholarships that SCF and other schools continue to do are a great benefit to returning veterans.
Absolutely, and I would say they're a primary role in that reintegration process for the vets.
Just recently, State College of Florida was named 2015, and let me get this exactly, military-friendly school by GI Jobs magazine for the 5th consecutive year. What makes SCF so special? Can you tell a little bit about some of the programs and efforts that SCF makes to make that friendly for returning veterans?
You bet. SCF loves our vets. We love our vets from the time they get back until the time they integrate into an academic program within the institution. There are so many things, I probably won't be able to list them all, but we have specific space for vets. We have initiatives for vets, bridge loan programs to help subsidize their expenses if there are delays in benefits. We put forth an initiative for the only veteran-only scholarship that has ever been established for the vets. And by the way, we're only $5,000 from a full endowment for the $25,000 scholarship endowment, and it's a lifetime scholarship for vets only. Book programs, food programs. We work with All Faith Food Bank to provide food boxes for vets that are returning that are in need or have some delays in their benefits. All of these different pieces that go into serving the vets, we look to continue to improve and maintain so that when we do get vets back, we can help them integrate into their academics and focus on their academics, and that's what's important.
And one final question for you. What would be the message that you would have for returning vets about, continuing their education and perhaps, looking into SCF as a possible source?
I would just say this. It's a great place to start your transition from the standpoint of economics, from the standpoint of awareness within our SCF community. Recently we've done some seminars with the professors, with the staff, on helping to understand how the best way to communicate, how vets work, and then helping the vets understand how the college works. And by marrying those two things, you get a smoother transition and an excitement that tends to flourish among both parties so that people can be proficient and efficient members of their community.
And what about those individuals or organizations that you would like to encourage to develop other scholarships? What would you say to them about the importance of that?
I'd say it's critical to this transition. Most importantly, I would say that we have a lot of talented people coming out of the service, and they need a place to land. And these scholarships are going to define where these folks go. And for me, I want them a part of my community. They're hardworking, they're intelligent, they're diverse, and I believe that they are our next generation of professionals.
Well, a GAP student is someone who works, and so they don't receive financial aid, but still working, it's hard to pay for tuitions, fees, and all the books you need for school. I became a GAP student because I go through my parents' taxes. I am under the age of 24, and so I cannot file as independent. They, on the books, make too much money for me to receive financial aid, but they do not make enough money to give me any money for school. Well, it was wonderful to get to meet Miss Mary Anderson. Her donation meant the world to me. It was a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. For her to be able to do that for me was just absolutely amazing. It really inspired me. For now, I want to, when I become established as a registered nurse, I would like to be able to do that to someone, because I know now the impact that it makes on students' lives to be able to set up a scholarship. So I really loved meeting her. It was really fabulous. Well, I love children, and so I really wanted to focus on pediatric nursing and to bring health care to those children that may need it. And I really love to help people, and I really want to make the difference in someone's lives, especially with young children who I really enjoy working with through my job right now, where I work at Kitty Academy, so I work with young children. Yeah, I have not entered the nursing program as of yet. Currently, I'm working on prerequisites to apply for the nursing program. I've gone to several meetings to learn information about the nursing program, and I'm really excited about it, and I think it is going to be a great program. Speaking to fellow students, they speak very highly of the program here at SCF. So I think SCF is a wonderful school. I love that it's smaller classrooms and that I can want more one-on-one attention with the teachers and with my fellow classmates. It's not an overwhelming amount of numbers, and I really enjoy that aspect of it. Plus, I feel like close to all the people that work at SCF, and especially the foundation staff like Allison Nash. It's very helpful to have people that I can talk to and that I can have as mentors. Well, a lot of people may not know that there are students like me who are GAP students and that need money, and I think that it will greatly benefit our community in the long run to have these students get to further their education and then go out and work in jobs like for example me, who I'm doing registered nursing, and so then that'll benefit in the long run when you need future nurses and future teachers and whatever. So I think it's a great program.
We consider this one of our premier events, thanking our donors, thanking the connections they're making and how they're impacting these students' lives. Well, this has actually been a record year for us. We've raised over $700,000 for scholarships, impacting 538 students. That's huge. It's a 14% increase over last year. In addition to that, the Selby Foundation increased their gift to us to additional $53,000 for a total of $123,000, and that's 100 scholarships right there. Well, it costs about $3,200 to attend SCF, and that's for tuition, books, and fees. And this year we're focusing specifically on our veteran students and our GAP students, which are the younger working poor who don't qualify for government assistance. Well, I'm going to read this to you. We've added 5 additional scholarships this year to our program. This is actually the largest attended scholarship luncheon that we've had, with over 300 attendees. So the donors are getting to meet with their students. It's just a magical event. And it's just been a record year for SCF Foundation. It's very warm, and it's very heartwarming to sit at the table and see the connection being made. And you can tell at first the students are often a little nervous, and this is a new environment for them, and you can see them adjusting their ties or their dresses. But then at the end of the luncheon, everyone is just chatting and talking, and everyone's happy, and the connection has been made. And that's what's really important. It is, and it started. Gosh, it must have been about 7 years ago with a grant that we got from Gulf Coast Community Foundation to help veterans coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq. And we started working with the students and realized the immense need that existed in the population of our SCF students. And so then when you go out and you speak to donors about helping our veterans that are coming back and meeting those needs in the community and allowing them to better themselves, it's just a win-win for everyone. Wow, that's a great question. I think what's important to know is that we are here to allow every student that wants to come to State College of Florida to be able to do that and to meet their academic needs. And then we believe when that happens, they're benefiting not only themselves, but also the community. We hope they're going to turn around and they're going to stay here, and they're going to be prosperous and impact the community as a whole. So it's a wonderful organization to be a part of. It's a spectacular organization for the community. I think, as I said before, this is my favorite, as a board member, this is my favorite event to attend. It gives you that warm hug that you want, and realizes why we donate our time and why we volunteer to organizations. This event shows me why I do that. It gives me goosebumps. I hear the stories. It's why I volunteer for State College of Florida.
It is. This is one of the greatest days of the year when we can bring our wonderful benefactors and donors together with the students that benefit from their generosity. These students, this is a life-changing opportunity for them to come to college, and these individual donors make it possible for them to be able to do that. So being able to bring that energy together is just priceless. It really is, and these two groups that you've just identified are very important to the State College of Florida. We've been in existence for 57 years, and this is our 57th birthday. We've been veteran-friendly for 57 years, but we've received a designation as a veteran-friendly school for the last 5 years. We really want to make a concerted effort to reach out to our veterans as they're coming back and they're transitioning from their military careers, and helping them get reconnected, not only as students, but helping them figure out ways to get employed when they graduate. Well, we have 43,000 graduates, actually over 43,000 graduates. At the end of this year, it'll be close to 45. Right now, we have about 10,000 students in the fall. We'll see another 10,000 or so in the summer, and those are just credit students. We have a whole non-credit program, which is another 12,000 roughly during the course of the year. So it's a vibrant academic community. Well, our commitment this year is to add 3 new programs in response to our workforce and to develop 25 new partnerships. But this year alone, we started a new accounting technology program in response to the community for need for accountants, as well as furthering our involvement with our biotechnology program and expanding the enrollment in that. And those students who are graduating are realizing wonderful opportunities to go on to new college, to continue their career, or going right to work for some of the best lab operations in our area. So we're very proud of that program. Well, thank you for asking. That's one of our greatest points of pride. When our students graduate from the State College of Florida, and about 90% or so of what we do is that transfer AA degree where students go on and complete their education elsewhere. When they do transfer, their GPAs are better than the average at all other state colleges, and in many cases they're better than the native students who start out at the universities. I think that's a testimonial to our outstanding faculty, the kind of support that we want to provide students, and just the outstanding student body at the State College of Florida. Our charter school started about 5 years ago. We have roughly 500 students in the charter school right now, ranging from 6th grade to 12th grade. When those students are in their 11th and 12th grade year, they're dual enrolled on the college campus. So they're going to graduate with their high school diploma and their AA degree at the same time. Last year we had our very first graduating class, roughly 59 students, and more than half of them went on and took the scholarship to continue their baccalaureate education at Florida Gulf Coast University completely tuition-free. Well, the Coca-Cola Scholarship recipients are the best of the best. These are students that are selected amongst the Honor Society for two-year colleges. That's Phi Theta Kappa. In the whole United States, Coca-Cola picks 50 of these students, and 2 of those 50 from the United States of America came from the State College of Florida last year. That is remarkable. We're very proud of that. I love the Model UN team and the faculty that advises that team. For fourth time in a row, or actually the third time in a row, we won for best position paper at the Southeastern Regional Conference for the Model UN, and for the fourth time in our history. What's significant about that is this competition isn't just community colleges. This is colleges and universities in the entire southeastern part of the United States, and our students are going head to head, and they're winning. They are, and they're learning some really interesting and practical skills. They're learning how to debate. They're learning how to be very responsive to relevant issues in our society. And hopefully someday the answers to some of these worldwide problems will come from these same students who are participating in that event now. Are from the State College of Florida. And again, that number represents far beyond what we represent in terms of total population of two-year college students in the state of Florida. So again, we beat the average, and we're very proud of that, and we want to continue to do that every year. Well, I would just say we cannot do what we do without their support. We are an open access institution. We're that institution that provides opportunities for students who don't have those opportunities elsewhere. And with the help of our wonderful benefactors and donors, those students are able to realize their dreams educationally and start to live the life that they fully should be enjoying. I would invite everybody in this community to come to the State College of Florida, see what we're doing, get to know some of our students, get to know some of our faculty, because it doesn't matter if we're called MJC, MCC, or SCF. We are at the core of what we do, a community college, and the community is really at the core of all of that. So we invite our community to be part of us, just as we're part of the community.
Well, at Synovus, we certainly support education in our community, and the State College of Florida is one of those entities that we just couldn't pass up by supporting. It actually came to fruition. Our CEO's son goes to the collegiate college here at the State College of Florida, and he was working at the state event, the Venice event under the stars, and came home and said, "Dad, we got to be involved in this. Your bank needs to do something." And then Terry brought the opportunity to us to do a sponsorship for the luncheon. So that's kind of how it birthed, but education's important to us throughout our 5 states that we're in currently, and State College is one of those in this market that we want to support.
Well, Terry, you've always been involved with the community, with Meals on Wheels and many other organizations. You look around today, the place is filling up. They're expecting more people than ever for this scholarship luncheon. How does that make you feel to feel that Synovus is involved in this?
I'm very proud to know that Synovus is involved in this. As always, we like to promote the higher education in our community. It promotes a better workforce for us and overall community in itself, so we're very excited.
Well, today, they're going to be recognizing some of the people that are scholarship recipients, especially those people that have received what they call GAP scholarships that fall under an income level that qualify. But also, just as importantly, they're recognizing veterans that have used the scholarship program. That's a big important part of returning veterans. It's got to make you very proud to know that you're part of this. Do you agree, Denny?
Yes, absolutely. you always want to give back to what you take in, and they're making a difference in the community, and it just shows how important the scholarship program is.
You got to admit, when you see all of these people here that have given something to the scholarship, it really reflects that Manatee County is really a giving and caring community. And, with your background with Meals on Wheels, Terry, you've got to see that a lot.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just amazed at the people here today, and it's actually a privilege to be here to meet these benefactors who help these students, and also very proud to meet the students, we hope will stay as a workforce in our community.
Synovus Bank has been a major player in this community for many years. What would you like the community to know about Synovus Bank?
Well, we're a community bank that supports our community, and our branding logo is we're the bank of here. We're here for the community, we're here for the students, we're here for the kids, and we're here to do not only business for the community, but to help our community grow and be a better place.
And I hope that you have a great afternoon today. It's great to see all these scholarship recipients here, and they're getting a chance to sit with some of the people who have contributed to the scholarship. So that's got to be exciting for them to actually meet someone who's contributed to their education.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, thank you both very much, and we'll have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We have been involved with them for 14 years. We have sponsored this annual luncheon. We also have an endowed scholarship, and we're very proud to be a part of the event.
Well, tell us a little bit what this means to the credit union to get involved with education, and why it's such an important part of your outreach.
Education is extremely important to the credit union, and we believe that if our youth succeed, our community is going to succeed, and we are just thrilled to be involved.
Well, you've recently changed your name from Suncoast Schools Federal Credit Union to the Suncoast Credit Union. Why did you do that? What's the significant changes that the name brings, and who can join the credit union?
Right now, if you live, work, or worship in any of the counties that we cover, you are eligible for membership. The new change has allowed us to affect a lot more people in our communities, and we are growing and strengthening every day.
Tell us a little bit about some of the services that you offer at Suncoast.
You name it. We have anything from savings accounts to car loans to mortgages to trust and investment services. We are a full service institution.
Well, as you look around today, the place is filling up. They're expecting over 300 people to celebrate the Foundation Awards. It's a significant event. You've got to be very happy to be part of it.
We're happy. We're happy to meet our benefactor. It's a very exciting event.
And one thing that you do too, there's a big emphasis on veterans, on the scholarships. SCF is, again, for 5 years in a row, a veteran-friendly school. What does this mean to you to be able to be part of this as you give back to our veterans?
We always are trying to help our vets. We have different things that go on in our branches that we help with our veterans, and it's a very exciting time.